Launching it. We going live. Rolling it.
Mm-mm.
Wish I had one of those sound effects. It was like one of the old timey like projector movie openings where it's like
Oh yeah, that'd be
yeah,
decent.
that'd be a cool sound effect to have. But yeah, welcome in, welcome live. Right at the 8 o'clock hour, we are bringing you guys a breakdown here for episode 3. Destiny arrives in Riverwood. Or no, am I tripping? No, we already shot that one. This is episode 4, Arrest in Riverwood. Very, very, very epic episode session. Much more epic than that intro, unfortunately. But it was a great session, and in that session, of course, we unfortunately didn't have Wax and Cloud with us. However, we did have Solaris and Savage, and both of them are joining us here tonight for the podcast breakdown episode of episode 4.
Hello.
And I think Savage is cruising around somewhere in the background. But that's all right because this is our first time having Ray on the podcast. So I want to give her a big, huge welcome and say thank you so much for joining us. You have been a huge part of this project and you've kicked some serious ass. Um, I want to do the same that I do for everybody who joins us for the first time. I just want to hear some of your genuine thoughts on your own character, Solaris, and just pick your brain about her a little bit, and then I'm gonna ask you a simple question for each of your teammates.
Okay.
So tell us, what are your thoughts on Solaris, your character? Can you give us a breakdown of some intimate thoughts you think she would have, or some feelings, or just some introspective that we haven't been able to get from the stream or gameplay?
I mean, I guess really that I'm really enjoying having Vero as my teammate. I think it's really cool. He's like a really good team player, teamwork person. I'm excited to like keep doing that kind of dynamic. I just think as a character, she's just happy to have someone because for so long until she went on this journey, it was just her and the animals, which is great, but no one to really talk to, no one to really play off of. So I think that's my opinion so far. Excited. She's excited to understand this magic. It was really interesting when she got the her magic revealed and looked at that she had that like that stabbing feeling a little bit in between in between her eyes. She's excited to be there, man. Excited to be there. Excited to see what's going on. Pretty much just down for any kind of adventure, down to fight, down to cook, all of it, down to learn.
Fuck yeah. That's awesome. I mean, that is probably one of the best introspections we've got so far into like the character that you've come up with into her head. That's a fantastic job. Thank you so much for that. Um,
Oh yeah,
and that question that you just had, that would be perfect for the very end where I'd be happy to uh, discuss things like that about maybe like why she would have felt that pressure, things like that, without giving too much away. But
yeah.
before, I want to ask you. Of course, you just said one very nice thing about Vero, but what is like your favorite thing about the character Vero, not the player Savage, but like the actual character he's
The
created?
fact that he's always just so forward. He'll just get up in someone's face and be like, "What do you mean? Tell me the answer." Like
Yeah,
he just gets he gets it done.
he do be getting it done.
Yeah. Over here talking about haggling with the ring. He's like, "No, actually, you're gonna pay us to buy this ring." And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's right, old man."
That's right, old man. Um, That's pretty funny too. Oh yeah, I think Vero and Solaris's team chemistry is pretty good so far. We haven't really seen you guys get a very variety of spells yet, but that
Yeah,
proves exactly how good your guys' battle chemistry is so far. Because you don't have a variety. You have a very strict, limited amount of options. So each option you have to be a little more tactical with. And seeing you kind of like mix in your bow and your magic to just be a overall across the battlefield player was awesome. Seeing that combination with Vero, amazing. Um, what is one thing you think Cloud, the player, has done right with his character Jimbo? What's one interesting thing you think the player did when creating that character?
I just think being able to, develop it with like not just like a teammate, but like a partner. The fact that he made his character like so like yin and yang sort of. He chose and picked his like little spells he picked and his um like all his abilities kind of like in a yin yang kind of manner. And
Yeah,
just being out there because he's just chaotic. His character just craves chaos. But I think that could be useful and funny, you know?
I do agree. I very much like the way that him and Wax chose their spells. I think that was awesome.
Yeah,
It was fun.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think that's absolutely a really good insight too. And last but not least, Schnur, Wax's character. What's one unique thing that you think her character brings to the atmosphere?
Um, guess just that she's quiet. But when it comes down to it, her character is just also, always there. She's helpful and she was nice. Like when we were in that first forest thing with all the vines. Just the way that she could have gone in and stole stuff out of my pack, but really she went in there to help and then stayed and then, you know, like kept my shit cool.
Truth, yeah. She absolutely could have just grabbed something and dipped out knowing the window was closing, but
Yeah.
decided to make sure your bag didn't get
Wow,
yoinked.
yeah.
Yeah.
She stuck around, man.
Yeah, what a trooper. Shout out to Wax. She did. She could have just taken anything and dipped. That would have been crazy. What a first interaction that would have been.
Yeah. I was like, okay, okay. Well, all right. Okay.
To
Yeah,
be
for
fair,
sure.
I've edited that and like had some time to watch the episodes back. I truly think in her mind, she was like, "Oh, this frail feeling that the DM's describing means I'm gonna get hit and get KO'd." So I think she was just looking for a place to hide. I
Yeah.
think is
Could
what
be.
she was doing. But
Either
you
way,
know,
man.
while I'm
Either
in here, might as
way.
well look around and see what she's got. Very very funny comedic moment. Um, and I guess that wraps up all of the characters so far on the cast and crew and your own. A very awesome rolling start here into the podcast. I mean, we're getting better and better at this every time, I think, and this is your first time. Um, what has been one of the things that you think you did right and one of the things you think you did wrong so far?
Hmm. That's a good question. I guess one of the things I could say I probably did wrong so far is after we got back from the market and he was like, "You didn't even get any potions or nothing," and I was like, "Oh man, like that's totally something I didn't even at all think of." I was like, "I don't know what's in the market stuff," but I'm just thinking of like a normal market, not like I didn't. I don't think I thought that all the way through. I think it'll be all good, but I think I could have used that a little more wisely. Um, and I guess something I did good in the game so far. I like what I packed when I left. I like that I chose the bow and arrow, and my dagger, and yeah, I think that's like a good start so far. That I'm really liking my like starting place.
Me too. I'm glad that I went in and started reworking some stuff because of the projects that we're going to be trying to come out with, getting these into their books and guides. Um, so recently, I went in and started adjusting the mechanics for the crossbow because that's like going to be something that the Legion is going to be rolling out because they're basically getting wiped out, not using ranged weapons. And recently, I've altered how sigils work. One, because I think it's cooler to make them more fast acting, so you can have like rapid play with them instead of like to
Okay.
keep on par with spells instead of just being like traps. And so now there's these things called rune tip crossbows, which are just a rock like the one we seen Cloud have get broken into fragments, and it still possesses a little bit of that magical power from the big rock being one sigil. And so you take all those fragments and add it into very, very minimal magic damage instead of attack damage. But with a bow, you already have the attack damage being presented for you. So if you could get these rune tips, um, being able to enchant your arrows and have just different types of magical arrow attacks, that would be what makes the bow still relevant. Because you wouldn't even need to technically channel that type of magic. You could use any type of magic as long as it's on a sigil. And you have a
Interesting.
friend on the team that already like his main thing is trying to get he wants to do the sigils, and that's Vero.
Okay,
So
okay.
that could work out very, very neatly
Yeah,
for
that might
you.
be something to think about.
You hear that, Vera? Who also in this episode that we're breaking into, Arrest in Riverwood, you came up with some knowledge today on sigils. Nobody's learned any
Yes,
spells
sir.
yet, but I would say that he is the closest, and he doesn't have an understanding or an attunement, which he'll need both of those to be able to actually get the information for those. But he's pretty fucking close. He knows what they look like, which is half of the battle. Now he just has to figure out how to learn that. Um, and he's already almost got two of them.
Hmm.
So that's pretty cool. You want to walk the
Oh,
podcast through the sigils you found today and what you think?
It was the shield
Mm-hmm.
sigil and the fire sigil essentially, right?
I don't know if it is fire. It does appear to be an upside down flame at the very top of it.
Mm-hmm. I know one that had like what two like circles with a dash inside of them, and then the other one was like an upside down A
Mm-hmm.
with an upside down looking flame essentially.
Which is the same one that you've seen project out the eye of the dragon.
Mm-hmm.
So is we don't know exactly what it is, but it's definitely better than that shield one. And the shield one's pretty good. It's a medium tier, so.
Mm-hmm. And
And
also, let's not forget the like the one that looks like a Venus flytrap rock that
yeah,
Jimbo's carrying in his bag.
technically you
mhm.
could put that knowledge down now, knowing that you're gonna need to keep track of these to learn about them. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, absolutely. Uh, that is that is true. Good catch on that, Savage. I would definitely say it's something to keep in mind is you're gathering information that some information is vastly more powerful than other information. Like the information of what those sigils look like, um, that would be essentially part of crafting a magic item for the rest of you guys. That okay, you're like, well, what if I don't want anything to do with the sigils? You still have to understand the elemental component of it if you want to craft enchanted items. So, which
Okay.
is something that'll come up later when we get into enchanting. But yeah, it's something to think about. Um, and now Vero has a lot of that information, which was all acquired basically in essentially one episode, besides the fly trap. A very information packed episode. What was one of the things you weren't expecting in episode 4, Arrest in Riverwood? Not getting to the scene that happens at like at night and stuff. Just the build up
Oh,
there.
uh, hmm. I didn't expect the magic testing system to be almost like a uh giant mechanism.
Yeah, yeah, that was pretty interesting.
Oh yeah, yeah, it was.
Like a big
Artificers
moving.
are pretty important in some of the storyline. Um, yeah, I would say that that's probably the only thing in the church that's like magic that Father Talius wouldn't have been able to create.
Hmm.
It
That's
almost makes me think of not that's like almost the way you described it. Like, I know it's different than this, but do you guys ever seen that movie 13 Ghosts?
yeah, yeah. Actually, I have,
Do
and
you
I've
remember
seen the Scooby Doo version.
that big, that big, yeah, that big spinning thing in the middle of the house that was like keeping it going, where they had to kill the ghosts with the different like signs for them,
Oh
and it like started getting them like spinning like
yeah,
crazy. That's kind of what it like
yeah.
made me think of.
That's pretty interesting. Yeah, the uh the Aether Crucible. Um, yeah, it's awesome. Um, if you guys didn't know, certain magic subclasses combine together. So if you take space magic and you combined it with divination magic, it creates aether magic. Aether magic is essentially the so divinity is the power side on outwards. For inwards, it's aether, and if you pump yourself up with enough of it, you essentially ascend to a level that's beyond a mortal. You'd have like omnipotence for a short period of time, all kinds of crazy shit. And this crucible essentially uses small amounts of that to burrow into you and to unlock whatever your magic potential is so that it can gauge everything you'll be able to accomplish in a lifetime. All of the magic you would be able to understand. All like it just gauges everything. It's crazy.
Hmm.
What about you, Vera? What was one moment that you weren't expecting in this rest at Riverwood? Or was that yours? I got confused
That
who.
was his. That was
Okay.
his.
Sorry. I
Mine.
was just
Okay.
saying you might have got confused on who asked that one.
The weird wall, the skin wall. That was a real interesting guy.
Oh yeah, that is interesting. Um that is probably going to be an episode we're going to break down a little bit later, but it was an interesting thing that happened, and I will say that it does have a direct connection to Vero.
Well, yeah, kind of seems like it. The
Counter
skin. I mean,
question,
just
Vero, for the viewers listening at home and for your DM, do you think your character has ever cast this much magic like repeatedly? Like in the
Mm,
past couple days since you've been to the forest, since you've been on this path, that just span of 3 days or whatever it's been that you know of. Um how much magic do you think you've cast, and like how do you think that compares to your character's past?
I think uh the arc surge is like one that he barely uses, but he's having to use it more often. Um, the shadow step when he's adept to it, because he would use that to for his mercenary jobs and stuff like that to sneak through and either get the client to safety without getting harmed or get to the target without getting harmed. I would say he's very adept with that specific spell, but he wouldn't be using it as often as he has been recently.
You're getting a little quiet.
Oh my bad. Is that better?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Sorry, continue. It was just like slowly
No,
fading
you're
out.
good. You're good. Uh, I forgot I was messing with the settings because there's people working next door, so I didn't want that to like poop through.
Yeah, good.
But yeah, like it's like the arc surge, like it's been used what, like almost twice already, almost 2 3 times. I'd say 2 times.
You definitely
Yeah,
Arc
it's two
surge to
times.
blasted the
get
tree,
yeah,
and
arc surge to get Jimbo out, and then arc surge to get that guy to
yeah.
really low. So that's more than he's never really cast that specific spell. Like he's known about it and he's felt it, but he's never like cast it outside of you know practicing. Like, he never practiced that spell, so that spell is more raw than his shadow step. Like he's knows how to properly use it and all that stuff compared to arc surge.
So he is definitely adept at it. That wouldn't be something I would question. I just meant in like succession. Has he went out and fought monsters like this before? Has he had to defend
Oh
himself
no no no!
like with magic like this at this rate
N-
before?
at this rate, no. Like
And not
maybe
only
one
that, but
one spark bolt to get away or shadow step, but that's it. Not like consistently time and or combine certain spells together.
and that is just like the weight of like the magical potential that we know of so far from whatever this background is. But there's one more thing that matters because it's just a little more important specifically to the shadow veiled, and that is
Mhm.
the shadow sense and the manifestation of not just this thing that you can see in dreams and reveal because essentially this thing is supposed to only give you like whenever you go and take your long rest, it should show you some sort of vision, some sort of hint, maybe like something. And as you lean into that more, you could have conversations within your dreams. You could ask it questions, and eventually you would be able to do so in a state of meditation. But yours is weird and developing rather quickly. We don't know. I don't want to give too much away, so I'm just going to say we don't know. But is
Mhm.
it because of the successive use, like that magic has been used on your body, or has it been because you've been trying to use shadow sense more? And that would leave me to ask the same
Okay.
question that I asked about your spells. Have you ever used shadow sense to this succession in the past? Has your character, I meant.
No, because the reason I think Vero has been casting him more often than ever before was because of Heimdall having somewhat similar abilities to Vero. He's like, I don't want to get caught off guard and be with another person that's like me. I want to get all the information I can. Like find either find more people like me or find out people who know about
I
people
fucking love
or
that
people
because
like
it
Vero.
connects those similarities but differences between
Mhm.
not you and Heimdall, which yeah, obviously, but between detect magic and shadow sense. Cause uh not to spoil too much, so if you're listening at home, maybe skip 30 seconds. But detect magic is divination magic, much like Father Talius uses. Um, However, shadow sense, which we know the opposite of divination is divinity, and that means that to do this magic, you're connecting to something out there that is giving you access to the magic, much like in D&D a warlock would do. But this isn't to the same extent. This is more like like how our familiars will work in game, essentially. Because this thing cannot attack you, uh, or you can't really attack it. As we seen when it was hurting, you began to hurt, and you didn't even know you were hurting. It was like if this thing died and
Mhm.
disappeared, you would die too, and you wouldn't even know what had happened. Was like the sneak behind that's the dangers of having one of these is now you have a literal
Yeah.
target on your back that something could attack. and we just barely get to like sneak at that peek at detect magic, which I think is fucking cool because I know that the companions and the familiars are gonna be like the first thing people do at the school. So when we get into that arc and get into all that, I plan on letting you explore more into this shadow sense thing.
Mhm.
So I think setting up these little bits where it's like, well, you got to be careful. If that thing gets hurt, you're gonna feel it too. Um, yeah, I think that was just a really cool setup and introduction for this thing. Um, one thing I want to ask: do you think I pulled off the execution of the manifestation of this thing right? You've watched Jujutsu Kaisen. You kind of know the angle
Mhm.
that I was going for as this thing was
Mm.
spawned in.
Mhm.
But what you didn't know is that I wanted it to appear like a threat was being introduced to you as I pulled this off, right? So you get to see it kind of be this dick who thinks it's like this just badass, and then it gets hurt, and you're like, oh shit, wait, maybe it's not a monster, you know? How do you think
Mhm.
that? Did you like that overall play of the flavoring of the shadow sense?
I did. I messed with that too. I was like, "Oh damn, all right."
Fuck yeah! I thought it was pretty fucking solid. So Lars, how do you feel about that?
The guy that we almost killed.
No, the shadow thing that Vero's been manifesting.
Oh, interesting, interesting. I feel like I could see it almost being a bad guy, but it can't be because you said that he's felt it before in dreams, and it's always something that's been there, never really like hurt him. So I kind of like the way that he almost seems like a bad guy, but he's not. So he's like one of those like anti-hero type of
Yeah.
dealios, you know?
And to be fair, the only person we've really seen him be a dick to is Heimdall.
Yeah. So
Yeah. And he did try and give you a heads up about actually
Mhm.
what was going to come to. So we get one good merit from him as well.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's good points. Um, so in Arrested Riverwood, after you guys had went through the magic process, you guys had gone to the shops. Who was your favorite shopkeep? If you had to choose one, there were so many introductions to different
Ma
just
and Pop.
odd characters.
yeah, I enjoy the forger people. They were pretty funny. They were pretty upbeat, you know.
Yeah, jumping
Although
on
I did
top of each
like
other
the
like
lady
Mario and
who had a
Luigi
creepy
and
third
shit.
ghost. Yeah. I know we didn't really meet the person like at the pub or nothing like that, like interact with them, but it cool that she had that little third ghosty hand that helps her freaking carry drinks and stuff. That was pretty good, interesting.
Yeah, and you gotta. That's what I meant about like I'm leaving Easter eggs behind that are like all gonna make
Yeah.
sense later. Like everything's intentional. Her, as I described that attack, it's called Mage Hand. Which implies that while I said you guys are all wizards, it implies that mages exist in this world.
Mhm.
So that,
Okay.
yeah, so that was one of those small things that I was hoping to just like sneak in there and be like, well, we saw a mage like way back
Mhm.
in Riverwood. What are you talking about? Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so that was awesome. Good catch on that. Um, that's why she didn't really engage with Vero because I wasn't trying to. That was just supposed to be something that's kind of like tucked there uh, for later. Um, pretty cool catch there. So yeah,
Yeah.
that was
I just thought it was cool.
the shopkeeps. Yeah, and then we of course before you guys got back to the church, the Resistance of Fate, you guys had that last interaction with the group of cultists, the Elfling radicalists that are outside of the market there. What did you
Mhm.
guys think of that?
Yeah,
They got punked.
yeah,
They got punked. They did get punked.
I feel like all the good roles that we had were onto like intimidation and like other little things.
yeah,
And in
yeah.
combat, we just had really bad roles.
We did have
Right.
was some insane
Oh no.
intimidation going down.
I was gonna say
Um,
they were the most intimidated they could be. Like if you intimidated them more, they might have just like passed out. We would have got
uh,
nothing.
um, yeah, I was so surprised with how that interaction actually ended up going. Considering that the role for her insight was only enough to reveal like 2 signs. I was like, all right. And then she gets introduced to him and it's like, all right, maybe these people ain't bad. And then the third chick turns around with the other sign and we're just like, oh, okay.
Ooh,
These people are
racism.
racist. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good
That's why
review.
though that he stays and he's like, no, we need to talk to these people. This racist lady. And I was like, ooh, I'm gonna go. I
That
don't know if
was
I
also
want to
funny. You're
talk to
like,
you. I
I'm
think
just
you're
gonna
just gonna.
go. I was like, well,
Yeah,
we
I
don't
think
know
I'm
if
like I
she's
think you're
done
just gonna
talking to
start
you
saying some
yet.
bullshit. Yeah.
It's like you can roll the sneak away if you want.
Yeah. I'd have listened to her and been like, all right, have a nice day, ma'am.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
you just
Vera
gotta let
always
the old
he
people
always thinks
talk
of like
crazy
good stuff to
sometimes.
ask. Like I'm always like, oh, I don't know what I want to ask him, or like I'll think of some things, but Vera's like, oh, I have like 30 questions for you already, and I'm like, where are you? How do you think of these? Or he's like, can I like stab the arrow some more into that guy? And I'm like, like it's just so creative.
Well, here's the thing: if your arrow tips were made out of silver or copper or any type of metal, I would have done
hmm
spark bolt because it has lightning,
And like
Yeah.
exploded from the
and
inside.
it would have done more electrical. It would have conducted more
Interesting.
electricity and
Yep.
mess
Interesting.
with his tendons.
Hmm. All right.
Yeah. It would
But
have
See,
when
been.
you told
always
me
think of
stone, you
this.
told me stone. I was like, "Fuck! Oh, damn!"
Yeah, I had to look, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure they're just fucking rocks.
Yeah. She said, yeah, they're just
Because this
fucking
is it.
rocks.
Because that's essentially what I did with the a throwback to the last podcast. That's what I did with the pot of water. I just threw
Right.
it on the ground and it sparked the shock
Oh
y'all off the leg.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So many clutch plays out of
Right, they're
Vero's
just
just
like good.
ingenuity. Man,
I just gotta get more creative.
bro, I'm a DM, but sometimes I want to play so fucking bad. Ray, I know we're not going to talk about the fight just yet, but I just have 2 really good
Uh,
examples. Ray wanted to
mhm.
bind the dude up, and then Vera was going to slash him. You guys could have literally just. I'm not going to break him down. I'm not going to talk about it too much, but you guys could have just got around the fact that his whole thing is reflecting attacks. You notice that? Like, he didn't come out and start
Yeah.
attacking you guys.
Yeah.
So there was also like subtle hints that you guys wouldn't have had to fight this guy. Um, but however, he is a bad guy. I'll just say that he's definitely a bad guy. But you guys have him and Vero have similar purposes in mind. Um,
Mhm.
and that's the only thing that gives him a redeeming factor. So he
Like that's
wasn't
the only
necessarily.
reason. As Vero, I had to let him go. But as me, I was like, I just want to kill this guy.
Yeah.
But I'm like, no. Like as Vero, I wanna. He the moment he brought up Vero's mother, like I promise you that if you promise me to come when I call you or come home when I say come home, I promise you I'll stay out of your way, so he's not gonna pop up, and to look after my mom
Well,
until I can
Ah.
reverse the
can
effects.
I be honest with you where that line came from? Because that was dialogue I already had pre-written. It wasn't like spur of the moment.
Uh,
Um, so I knew that this guy. Listen, I've played with this group enough now, and I kind of knew how this was gonna end if this dude lost. And he was supposed to intentionally deliver this message while kind of like just countercasting you guys so that you guys could have a target that was moving, let you try out your attacks. But I knew at some time this battle was gonna have to end. And had he lost, he was gonna go for more of a intimidation approach. And so I had this line where like he could persuade Vero into thinking their interests were aligned while also being kind of intimidating to the rest of you guys, which was basically going to be that line like come when you're called, and basically I'll look after your mother, because that's like a dangerous line. He's saying that he knows where your mother
Mhm.
is,
Mhm.
and that he knows who she is.
Mhm.
So like, yeah, him saying I'll look after her is kind of like ambiguous. Um,
It's a little threatening.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
Oh, trust me, I'm ready.
but
I'm like, I took it. I was like, you know what? Fine, because I'm gonna have to learn all this magic. So having someone actively looking after her is like at least a weight off a shoulder. Not too much weight off of it, because then I have to worry about who's watching over her. But at least someone is.
But you also know, because I told you guys, at the school,
Yeah.
the dark lexicon stuff isn't taught. And this guy just offered you information about that magic you're curious about
Mhm.
at the same time. So you never know how that could shake out. You play your cards right, that could be like maybe not a mentor, but somebody you at least use for that knowledge to gain the
Yeah.
information of the glyphs, right? And then you can learn to do it on your own. But you at least need the information that something exists, or you can just try stuff at random and see what sticks. Because there's also the rule of cool, and you could just nat 20. Who fucking knows? But we'll get to that when we get to the school, I guess. But this is basically a fail safe that I've built into the story so that you'll at least have access to like someone to teach you the feats and stuff like that. But he is still definitely a
Mhm.
bad guy. There's a purpose. He
Mm.
definitely wants you to get a control on your magic for a purpose, for sure. Like you said,
Mhm.
that's no new information. There's definitely an ulterior motive there. Um, which also, while we're talking about it, and since we just got off the topic of the cultists, just to circle them back into the conversation, the motives are actually more similar than they appear. I don't know how well I got that across the board, but these two groups that are interested in you that we've seen today, the one that wants to get rid of you, and this new one that wants to use you or serves you, or however you want to interpret it at this point, because he did make it confusing and ambiguous. Um, But however it is, the reason is the same, for the same purpose. So that's all I'll say. It's
Okay.
it's something that can definitely be thought about later, because this kind of radicalism really only exists outside of the sanctum, where there's no other real power. And I also want to remind you guys what we talked about in the last podcast episode, because Solaris wasn't here. So for Vero and Solaris, and maybe those listening at home, I hinted at you guys that the reason that you might not want to be captured out alone, low on magic, in the area that you were in, where we now know these cultists are kind of around, is that because of the reasons that we kind of talked about, which were um, the Philosopher's Stone, and what it is, how you would make one. For those listening at home that don't know what that is essentially a magic stone that can cast your magic for you. Imagine if you didn't have to pay a price for it. But the only way to get that is to jam it full of souls, of people, spirit, life, and vitality with a plethora of magic. And you have to put it inside of one of these. That's what a philosopher's
Hmm.
stone is. And that's what we covered in the very, very last podcast about with me and Cloud were talking about it, about Heimdall, and the reason why maybe he was so urgent of like, had you met anybody else out on this road, it could have possibly been an encounter that you would have needed to duck into the bushes for.
Hmm. Okay.
But
Hmm. Yeah.
we don't know if the danger was for everyone present, The only
Or
people
just
that
me?
would exude
Or just Vero?
magic that would need to be forewarned of would be Vero and Cloud. Schnurr's magic
Okay.
is nearly invisible unless you're actually casting detect magic or anything like that, focusing on it. There's something weird with the Fae and fairy magic. And Solaris's magic, your magic is bright and radiant. It could potentially be dangerous for you as well, but not for the same reasons. So that's also something to think about. Um,
Hmm.
Okay.
it's very interesting now that we have this information on these two factions and not knowing why uh why either one of them actually have this hate or anger for Shadow Veiled, or this reason to need them, whichever may be.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have any theories?
Mm, repeat the question.
I was just asking if you have any theories in general. Sorry, like any
Like in general, the whole game.
yeah. We're like 20 minutes from wrapping up, so we're gonna do a couple theories and then probably some questions. I still gotta check the reviews real quick, see if we did get any questions. And
I
Twitch
don't
chat,
know.
if you guys want to start dropping us some questions, we will take some questions for the end segment. But yeah, if you guys have any theories, that this would be awesome to get some brain picking in.
Um, I mean, nothing that's more than just general. Like, just that we're gonna obviously have like a lot more like little adventures and things to go on. I'm sure some more creatures to fight. I really am hoping that there is dragons because I know Vero's looking forward to that for sure. I'm. I don't really know. Yeah, I don't really know if I really have any theories quite yet. Nothing like too big, nothing mind blowing, or nothing really I can like describe well or anything.
That's very
I have things
interesting.
I
That's
yeah.
very
Good.
interesting. Um, Counter theory. Uh, you said about the dragons. We did find out in this episode, Arrest in Riverwood, that dragons are said to be extinct, and
Right.
um, one of the sisters, before she gets cut off, said was like chiming in about their descendants, uh, but we didn't actually get to hear what she was trying to say. So that could be a good thing to maybe theorize about.
Yeah.
But yeah, apparently dragons are said to be extinct, but this eldest sister said she had a vision of one flying above the southmost part of the continent.
Yeah. So I'm thinking they might be. I'm thinking they might be making a resurgence. Maybe they were like uh slumbering for 100 years or something, or someone's keeping them hidden, keeping them. I don't know. I don't know. Magically keeping them hidden.
I do like that theory. That's a good theory. Magically keeping them hidden or um, slumbering like fucking
Yeah.
Godzilla deep in the ocean or some shit. Yeah, that's pretty good.
You know.
Um, any thoughts about what they could have meant by descendants?
Maybe like not necessarily a dragon, but almost like how freaking chickens and birds are like descendants of dinosaurs, something like that, like a new dragonish animal, but maybe not quite what they had been calling a dragon originally.
Oh yeah, that's true. When you guys were swapping stories around the campfire, didn't Heimdall mention like battling
Wyvern.
with wyverns,
Mm-hmm.
which we do know is essentially a dragon that doesn't have arms. It's like it's got
Mm-hmm.
2 big legs and
Mm,
it stands on them, and then it's got 2 big wings and a tail, and then its head.
okay.
That's
So
basically what a
yeah,
wyvern
that
is.
could be yeah.
Well, that's a descendant of a dragon.
Right.
So we do know those exist.
So yeah. So then that must or then I guess we were talking about a descendant of dragon whisperers or something, you know?
Mm, yeah. Could be, could
Like the
be.
dragons work
Something had to
around.
wake up. Something had to wake up in the forest because you said Vero's
Yeah.
familiar with that roar.
Repeat that one more time, sorry.
With that roar that almost like made us stumble, like it
Yeah.
was meant for us to like breathe or something. You said that the one who's familiar with it was Vero, that it sounded or assimilated to a dragon. So nothing can copy. In my brain, not even a wyvern can have that immense type of roar. It has to be an actual dragon. And it happened
Yeah.
again where the bird took on the dragon's form or the shadow of a dragon,
Yeah,
essentially.
again, I don't know if it didn't actually like shapeshift, just to clarify. It was just
But
the
but it was
right.
the shadow, wasn't it? Like big
Yeah.
enough that it looked like a dragon.
Mhm.
Because my theory would be that the vision she had about a dragon to the south would have been the bird.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because
Yeah.
Oh, that's
its
a
shadow is big enough to imitate and or resemble a dragon,
damn. That's
and
good.
it's still looking for a hero. So maybe the hero is near the south.
Mm. Damn. That's good. That's a good one, bro. That's juicy.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's
I can
something
definitely
there
see
for
that
sure.
linking up. Yeah.
That is a fucking good one. I like that a lot.
The only theory I could have besides that one is Vork's Veril's father being a conduit and or a battery to keep whatever that fleshy wall was at bay.
Mm.
Ooh.
Mm.
Yeah,
Because homie does say your pops is sealed. So I'm like,
that's a
hmm.
fucking good one, yeah. Oh, that's what's your evidence for that theory? Let's hear some breakdowns into what led
Cause
you
he
there.
okay, so homie was like, oh, he's sealed, he is locked away or something like that, but his power isn't enough. So like he's powering something, right? So he either and for him to be sealed, he needs to be put either. My brain is thinking into a cell or a a life suspended animation, and just something is sapping away at his life or his magical power. But his is not enough. That's why they need me. But I am not. I can't control my powers yet to be useful to either replace him in that sense.
That's a
Mm.
that's a fucking good one. That's a fucking good one.
Blunt proceeds to rewrite the end.
No, that's insane theory. I'm not gonna lie. I can't reveal too much, but that's fucking not too far from the truth. That's a good theory.
Cause like, cause like there'd be no, cause unless he was not a powerful enough wizard and or mage, they would have no need for me unless they're trying to either siphon off whatever magical thing that I have, which seems to be in abundance because in the vision that we have in the testing, I chose to look in the future. In the future, there's a vision or a possible outcome where I do master all the magic or learn all the magic and put a
Mm-hmm.
stop to someone.
But keep in mind,
That's someone I
that vision is
yeah.
showing you like your max potential. Like if you went
Yeah.
all the
But that's what I
fucking
mean. Like
yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Like there for that someone has for me to be able to learn that, and I have to have magical potential, aka the reason to replace my father in whatever situation he's in. But then also either replace him or put a stop to whatever he started and or is trying to prevent.
That could be true. One other thing I would say that it ties very well into your theory, it gives you just a little bit of solid footing, is from your own backstory, you said Alara went and visited this Vorks, went there. So we know Vorks had some sort of domain.
Yeah, they came from a different realm because they were trying. Vorch's realm is different from the current one we're in.
So if we know that he's at a different realm, and in your theory, you're saying he's trapped.
Mhm.
I'm saying that this matters because if that one guy hadn't shown up, are you saying that just because you wouldn't have had your magic potential unlocked as of this moment, that the story could have ended here if your hand would have went through that flesh wall, or
I
if
feel
the
like it would have ended. It would have ended if I officially went with that flesh wall.
and that's the only thing that gives you a little bit of solid footing because your DM fucking closed that motherfucker. I was like, yeah, that can't happen. So that's the one thing I would say that ties in and gives that theory just a little bit of solidity, but also, like I did to Solaris, counter theory. How do we know that that wall wasn't you connecting to your father because of you using his magic?
Mm.
Mm.
And what if that was him that you almost freed and not whatever these people in your theory were trying to keep at bay?
Mm. Hmm. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Because if we know that you have a some sort of shadow thing, why would it not make sense that he would not have a shadow thing?
Mhm.
And we've seen some sort of shadow thing like creep across and enter in. And it also, we know it had to have been really fucking either smart or strong or magically blessed because it undid that window like it was fucking nothing. The same window that if you had tried to shadow step back through would have lit up those sigils. That's why it was so
Mhm.
important that once that window closed, you couldn't get back through there with shadow sense. That shows how smart or magically blessed or strong that shadow thing in the beginning was.
Mhm.
Because it could undo that magical protection like that. As if it was just walking by and flipped a stack of papers off the table. Like, easy
Yeah.
peasy.
Damn, now you got me thinking.
So do you think that the same shadow that did that was attached to the guy that you guys put a fucking whooping on? If so, why would he not just whip the
No.
why would he
Yeah,
not just
no,
whip
no
that
way.
shadow out and attack you guys right there point blank?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It definitely the theory goes one of two ways and they're both kind of similar. Um not that I would actually reveal what the truth is right here, but it definitely gives you a closer inclination. And it is pretty cool that you made that guess because that was pretty hot on the money.
Mm.
But yeah, that's a very, very good theory. We do not have any review questions, so hopefully our wonderful podcast listeners at home will drop us some reviews and leave us a question. So next week on the podcast, we can answer some questions. And I don't see any questions in chat. Um, I guess if you guys don't mind, can we go around and ask each other one question, and Then we'll end the segment with a yes and because we didn't do one for the last stream. And we have Solaris here. She's never got to play yes and before.
Oh, oh boy.
So I guess I'll start. Whoever I ask a question has to ask someone else a question. So I'm gonna
No.
start with Solaris. Uh, let's see. Gotta have a good one here to start us off. Gotta have some notes over here somewhere. Ooh, that was a good question I was waiting to ask. So, we know that your legacy feat, before I could like even fully explain it to you, you had already chosen an option, which just so happened to be the exact option that I had like kind of pre-planned. You hit it the hit Ned right on the fucking head. Um, so I wanted to ask you, of that legacy feat that you have, you chose heritage. One
Yeah.
of your parents, we know now, went to Mistvale Academy. Which one do you think it is? And do you have any theories about them or anything you think about how that's going to shake out just yet?
Hmm. I guess. I don't know. I kind of think it'd be cool if it was my dad. Maybe I think it would be my dad, or maybe it was both of them. Honestly, maybe they met there and then like got really strong together, tried to fight something, both got, murdered, or maybe like they got like, or they just ran both of them ran like away and they're in a hiding somewhere. That would be pretty cool too. And then maybe I might end up like running in or meeting them, and they would be like, "We didn't want this fate for you because of all the craziness." I don't know. That's what I'm throwing out there.
That's fucking sick. Yeah, I wasn't expecting you to go fucking full Batman backstory. She's like, yeah,
Well,
fucking,
that's what I was like. Oh,
oh,
well, if they die, but what? Maybe they're in hiding.
yeah, that's fucking sick. I like that theory a lot. Um, we do know that your mom was around for at least some of your childhood because in that vision of your past that the
Mm,
Aether uh, Crucible displayed, we saw her like setting you down in your crib, and there was like an orange cat there. So we know
yeah.
she was there for at least part of your childhood, but we didn't get to see anything from your dad. So I do think it would be cool to see some of your dad's backstory. Do you have any uh oh, you actually gave us a theory. You're like, what if they were caught by monsters or something like that? Yeah. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, that's pretty fucking sick. All right. It's your turn then. You go ahead and ask a question. You have to ask something to Savage, and try and make it good. Try
Okay.
and make it juicy, like the one I just gave you.
Okay, I'll try. Um. Gosh. So you're looking for dragons, and the other guy who came looking for you, and he's kind of a bad guy. What's your theory on why they're like the bad guys are really wanting you more? Like, you think your dad was also a bad guy, or I know you kind of touched on it a little bit, but like, I don't know. How do you feel about that?
Well, hmm. Well, technically, the Varro's dad was part of a cult that wanted to basically try to overwhelm and or overpower or try to take most of the magic of this realm that we're in.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't, I never told the specific reason as to why or what was
Okay.
the end goal.
Okay.
So
Mm,
essentially, I think maybe, like I said, it would be like my theory was like a replacement to keep
right.
whatever they want out
Yeah. Yeah.
to stay versus either getting killed or captured by the other group. They're trying to give me as much potential as possible to then use me as a battery, which I'm like
mm,
80%
okay.
sure.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
to pile on, I know this technically isn't how that's supposed to work, but to add to that question, something that was faded into the background, your letter. Didn't Heimdall say that that means
Oh,
someone is urgently requesting you to go to the school? Most likely the
Mhm.
headmistress.
Mhm.
And then I think he even added a sly comment like, "Wow, you must have like royalty family or something like that." It's like really only the
Uh,
royals get treatment like that.
mhm.
And then that one dude in the alley called you young lord, which would
yeah.
like
Yep.
further imply like some sort of royalty or something. Um, wouldn't
Mhm.
that be crazy if one of your parents went to Miss Vale Academy? Wouldn't that be crazy as we're sitting here theorizing about
Oh, no,
One
no.
of Ray's parents going to Miss Vale Academy? Holy shit! Your characters are about the same age. What if your guys' parents went to Miss Vale Academy at the same time? Wouldn't
Oh
that be
gosh.
Oh,
fucking crazy?
Lord.
And that takes us in to our next segment, which is called Yes and. I think the best place we can pick up is where we just left off. So basically, how Yes and works is usually we'll start with a really, really juicy comment that we've got at some point during the stream, or like one of the best comments from a review, and the DM at the time, which would be me, would maul over the idea, give you guys a little spit about it, and then there you would imagine it. Basically, bring the idea to life. Tell me about it. Then you would say yes, and I would give you mechanics for how that would work. Then it goes back to you to imagine it one more time. Yes, and then back to me to tell you the mechanics. So basically, this is world building in the sense of we're going to take a theory and add some grounded legitimacy to it. So as we've been theorizing all night, all of that is up in the air. On this one particular occasion, we're going to add some actual groundedness to it. So if everybody understands and also remembers, the most important rule is when your turn is done, say yes and. For this one, since there's two of you and I started the question, we're going to start yes and on one of you guys, whoever wants to lead, and then the other one is going to go directly after them, and then I will explain the mechanics, and then the circle will go one more time around. So we're going to start our yes and on where we just picked up on, which is, what if one of Vero's parents went to Mistvale Academy? What if one of Solaris's parents went to Mistvale Academy? Do we know mother or father for either? And what if they knew each other? And that's where we're going to turn it over to whichever one of you wants to jump in and kick us up on Yes and.
You go first, man. I gotta hear this out loud first.
It would have to be Alara, Vero's mother, because she is efficiently good at healing magic, which is a light and or outward expression type of uh magic. So yeah, it would be Alara's mother. Who probably went to Miss Vale and either achieved what she wanted or finished that school, and then went on to her travels to become a travel and healing medic that turned out to be there. So, uh, yeah, yes, yes, and
And then it goes to you, Solaris.
Okay, explain it to me again.
So you're just going to add some grounded legitimacy to the theory. As we've been just theorizing
What he
tonight,
just said.
everything's up in the air, but here we're going to try and confirm. So he's given his best description as to what he thinks is plausible. You're going to do the same. And then when it comes to my turn, I'm going to explain the mechanics.
Okay, so we're commenting on how you said, what if one of my parents went and what if one of his parents went?
Yep.
We know one of my mom went. So, well, one of my parents, I guess, is it mom? I know
We
I
don't
had a
know.
mom. Oh, okay. So
That's
yeah,
what we need you to try
I'm
and think
guessing.
about, try and shake out. Do you think it'd be your
uh,
mom or your dad?
hmm.
What do you
Okay, I
know
say my
about
dad.
these characters?
Because if my mom was a little bit around, I remember her in my earlier like childhood vision, and I didn't see him. There's got to be a reason he's not around, and maybe that's the reason. He was either off to school or he was killed or captured.
Mm,
Yes.
all right. Good, very good, very good. So how I believe that that would work is both of you are correct in the sense that one of your parents did go to Mistvale Academy. One of you is correct, one of you is wrong. So
Mm,
I will leave you with the thought of mechanically the next go around is going to be based on how they would know each other. So
okay.
I would say one of you is right, one of you is wrong, and my mechanical explanation is that they're going to have to know each other.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yes, and back to Savage.
So I said my mom went, and you also said your mom went.
I said my dad because my mom was around when I was little,
Oh,
but I never remember seeing him.
okay.
Yeah.
And they must have known each other.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it was both our parents, like our both our moms,
Okay.
essentially, because again, Elara is adept at healing. She's a healer. Your mom raised you, and I guess taught you everything you need to know about forest creatures and all that stuff, and how to take
Yeah.
care of them. So I feel like it wasn't your dad. I feel like it was your mom. Yes, and
Okay. I'm gonna have to agree. Maybe they like took some same classes together. I mean, at this point we're assuming that they were friends, but it's not necessarily that they were. But I'm gonna go ahead and say I think they were, and maybe they took classes together. Yes, and
So wait, what was your answer? Which one did you think it was, Solaris?
I was saying yeah, it's gotta be our moms then. I'm agreeing with that on that one now, and that they met each other through classes. Yes, and
Very good. Yeah, I absolutely like the way that shaked out, and it is a very easy layup for me to conclude. Um, I will say that the actual answer, and before I turn it over to you guys to give your final statements, um, is you guys are now both incorrect. Yes,
oh,
oh, what the
and
fuck?
god damn it!
Okay, so it has to be one of our moms and one of our dads. It's got
Right,
you motherfuck. It's my dad and
my mom.
wait,
Yep.
no, because if
your
she
mom.
stayed on mom, then she would technically have been correct. I said you're both incorrect.
Oh, so those are dads?
Oh no, my
Dun
dad, your
dun dun.
Oh God.
All right, give us some
Let me
final
guess. They're
closing
gonna be
statements.
enemies.
How do you think this is going to shake out? We're going to get to Mistvale soon, and we're going to find out about both of your parents' legacies. How do you guys think this is going to shake out? Your final chance to get your theory in. Vero, does this change your theory? This might just.
yes.
Yeah, I told you, you're close, but not really like that. Anyways, yeah, give us some final closing statements on your guys' theories.
Fuck.
I was
No, because
so.
at first I thought it was my dad being a conduit for that thing, and then they're replacing me, and my dad still being a part of that cult. You saying that he went to Miss Mel?
Not only that, but that means that your dad is the royal too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Hmm.
The only thing I can
Well,
think of is that we was either blackmailed or or forced to do what he did when I grew, at least what I thought he's been doing since my childhood, which is be part of that cult.
What if he's like a
'Cause
secret bad guy?
No, we think he is a bad guy, not secret about it.
Yeah. Okay,
yeah,
not
we know. Like
secret.
I'm
Okay,
saying, he
not
is
secret.
that like Vero's understanding of his father's backstory is that his father was a
Yeah.
bad person from a cult that captured his mom, and then things led to other things. They had Vero. Vorks never was around in Vero's childhood. Who at least taught him some understanding of magic and tried to help him with magic was Elara, his mother, a Arcling who is adept at healing. But Vero's Veil-born Shadow Veiled abilities overpowered that and made all his spells that he tried to do to not go correct. And then he spilled out like I guess would be like a freak out or a giant wave of shadow magic spilled over the village they were in and injured his mom. So like that's why he's out seeking knowledge of either sigils or glyphs to reverse that effect, and he's trying to find the corrupt ones because he's like, if I can fix those, I can reverse the spell that I placed in that village,
Okay.
and
Okay.
in return save my mom. But he's thinking that his dad is the reason it's bad, it's evil.
So the
Blunt
curveball
telling me
is,
that his
yeah, continue. Sorry.
Blunt telling me that it was my dad who went to Missile Academy and his royalty is making me like, well, fuck, what caused him to one be a part of that cult, or was he ever even a part of that cult to begin with?
Okay.
Because that's throwing a wrench in like all the thoughts that Vero has in his brain. Like Vero has a set idea of who his dad is. Like he's never physically met his father ever. He just knows his father's name and knows from the whispers and rumors of the village that his father wasn't a good person. Ilara never badmouthed his father, never said he was a bad person. She just focused on raising Vero and tried to innately tried to like show him the good side of magic, the light side of it, essentially.
And all of your spells are technically outwards. So
Mm-hmm.
so that all tracks. Every bit of backstory actually works mechanically right there.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the parts that your abilities, your feats, the things that we are seeing develop are inwards,
Yep.
which means
So it's like
everything
him
he's
that
learned has
literally
been from
if
Alara,
if the
but
next one when we get to Missville, that get told, "Oh, your father was a great person or was a great student," Vero's gonna be shocked and like not believe it.
this world is literally flipping upside down with that information. Um, but also, I'm not supposed to. Like I said, it's closing thoughts. But
These are like
Yes.
another thing, remember your dream, the very first one, the intro. The shadow thing was looming at the wall while there was a dragon roaring in the distance. We've now seen something close to a shadow like that, except just nothing in scale.
you're making my brain think that his dad always watched over his nightmares
Oh God. Oh God.
and protected him from that dragon.
Bro, we have no fucking
I have to
idea
say,
what's about to
that
happen when we get to
sounds
Mistveil.
pretty deep.
The real story is gonna begin, and it's gonna be like, wait, what the fuck? I like.
Yeah, all my theories that I had just crumbled. Like literally, the moment you said that, like you flipped it, just crumbled to pieces.
Like I said, you were very close though, but like it couldn't have gone exactly like that, or it can't be exactly like that. Um, and we'll find out why actually. And when we get to Mistvale, we'll find out just a tiny little bit that might help you start building up your next theory. Um, Alara, or not fucking Alara. My brain's glitching trying to hide thoughts. Um, Solaris, knowing now what you know about Vorx's dad's background, right?
Yeah.
I just told you your dad and his dad were friends.
Yeah. So, gosh darn it, what the heck happened to my dad?
Final thought. You have any final thoughts on that theory? Yeah, you've been thinking about that all night. Like, where could he have been? What could have happened? Now you did kind of get confirmed. You were right on the money with the your dad could have been away at
Yeah.
Mistvale. But
Yeah.
was he friends with Vero's dad? Because Vero's dad was in a cult.
They might have been friggin' enemies. Or started off as friends and then became enemies. Or he's in the friggin' cult with him. I don't even know. At this point.
Right, like, what the fuck? All the theories just, like, you were right there, too. You were on the money. Vero was, like, right there, but as soon as you get that extra piece of information, it's like, wait, that doesn't even
Wait, now you just fucked me up. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to create here is a mystery that you guys have to actually indulge into, besides just, like, it being a classroom simulator. So as you're learning, you're getting these new things that, like, just completely expand the horizon of the frame. That I like how big of a curveball this is gonna be for Savage, though. For
Yeah. Yeah,
Solaris,
I'm ready to see him freak
you're
out.
like, okay, I'm not really learning anything new, but for Vero's understanding it, like 180s it, so he already
I'm,
knew,
I'm just
but now he
I'm just
doesn't.
enjoying him being flabbergasted.
And plus, Solaris, we have so much backstory that we get into for your mom, with like
Cool.
that scene and with the cat later on. So we get plenty of
Cool.
stuff
Cool.
with her backstory. Maybe I mean it's not like all flushed out, but just looking at what we have so far, um, we do already get a lot of her backstory from those. This is the only real glimpse that we have at your dad's backstory. Um, and the only thing and that's kinda sketchy because now the only thing that we know about him is that he's affiliated with Vork's with Vork's, Vero's dad, who is a sketchy guy, who now we know that we don't know anything about. We thought we knew, but now we're like, "Wait, what the fuck?"
Cool. All
Alright.
right, y'all.
Yeah, I think that is where we're gonna go ahead and leave this one. It has been an amazing adventure into the series and into the minds of the cast and crew. It is always fun as long as we have you guys. Hopefully, we will be back tomorrow with a double feature. Friends in Discord, if you could just hang out for one moment. We're gonna shut this down and we will be back again. Thank you guys all again for joining us for another episode of Spells with Scepters podcast, the breakdown where we go through and break down every single episode. This has been episode 4, Arrest in Riverwood. And yeah, we are resting and dreaming now, but there was lots of schemes and all kinds of crazy things going down. So make sure you guys hit that follow and stick around, hit the reviews, leave us a question. So we have more things to talk about next time, and we'll catch you there.